All right, guys, joining the Fight Bananas podcast, MMA couple, Felicia Spencer. Todd, how you guys doing?
Great. How are you
Good,
doing?
good.
Doing good, doing good. Maybe we'll hear the dog in the background sooner or later.
Around somewhere.
Awesome. First of all, can't wait. UFC 250. We'll get into it. There's so much. Okay. Last month, first, Todd, I want to start with you. Last time we talked, I remember it was, Todd, your first professional fight coming up, Combat Night in Tally last month. And then, Felicia, you had Virginia Northbrook. Both first round finishes. How did that feel? Did the momentum, Felicia, did Todd's win kind of pump you up and get you going a little bit? How did you guys feel both winning in the first round?
Well, it was. We kind of expected him to do that, and then kind of that was the game plan for me. So, I was just trying to beat his time, and I didn't. So that was kind of, whatever.
One check for the guys. One check for the guys.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Todd, how did you feel? It was your professional debut. How did you feel inside the ring?
I felt good. I felt great.
Yeah.
I felt very confident going in. The closer and closer I get to the cage, the more confident I get. So it was a good feeling. And I'm like, oh, I can't F this up. It's like if I lose and she's about to fight, like what kind of mindset does that really have lingering around? Like, oh my God,
Right. And that's what we'll get into the whole thing about just being a couple, in MMA, in training camp together. Sometimes you guys are not in training camp together and all that. But, okay, let's kind of get to the really exciting, crazy new news. Talked to Tex a couple of days ago, Felicia, about it. UFC 250, Brazil, Amanda Nunes, featherweight championship on the line. Like, this is it. So exciting for you. Did you feel that you were going to get the opportunity? And then two, when you did, how did it finally sink in? I remember talking to you now for a couple of years. You always told me Cyborg and Amanda, both for titles, both kind of really coming into a reality. So just all that wrapped into one.
I did feel like I was in a good position to get this title shot, so I was pretty confident. I was a little bit surprised that there was a lot of debate about it, but at the same time, like I figured that the UFC would want me to be their first phone call, their first call. So it worked out. And going into fight week in Virginia, I didn't know that it was that Amanda had a date and a location in mind already. So that was kind of getting thrown at me randomly during the week, and I was like, whoa, it's the first to hear that. But
right.
I guess if the last time I had a quick turnaround, things went pretty well. So I came out unscathed and right back in it. Kind of the same exact amount of time between these two fights as I had with Megan and going into Cyborg fight. So
right.
I feel on top of the world, really. So I'm ready to go in there.
That's awesome. Congratulations. So happy for you for that. So happy for you. So kind of, okay, relationship question. So Todd, does that affect you trying to find a fight, pre-early summer? Because now Felicia's in it, and in the main event, it's such a big fight. Does that affect you in your career?
No, not really. Well, to a point, I ain't doing nothing. When she's fighting, that's like a fluffy in the background barking at something. When she's fighting, I'm pretty much like her chauffeur when it comes to a lot of things, So I need to make sure I'm available to carry bags and just pretty much that's it. Take care of stuff. Whatever she needs done. I got to be a good house husband and make sure I'm on top of it. But for the most part, it really doesn't affect anything, especially I ain't got to worry about opponents being like, oh, that's the husband of a UFC fighter by any means that I know of.
Not that we know. He's scary enough on his own.
Yeah, I'm scary enough on my own, right? If anything, she makes me look a little nicer.
Yeah.
And okay, with Felicia being, in the UFC and the main event, UFC 252, just what an epic card that's going to be. And they already have Cejudo and Aldo on the card. It's a really stacked card. And, starting your professional career, 1-0, undefeated. I checked out your amateur career and all that. Does it motivate you, or does it give you a little bit almost like a pressure of like, oh my goodness, this is kind of my goals. What your wife is doing, that's kind of something that you want to do for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I don't put too much pressure on myself. I'm like, she's my wife. I'm happy however far she makes it. I hope to be just as good as she is one day, especially among the rankings and being able to fight. But no, it doesn't put any pressure on me. I plan on continuing my career, busting heads wide open and, just keep on keeping on, I'm undefeated. So like maybe she should be looking at me for inspiration. It's like,
if anything, it just maybe gets him an opportunity faster than some other people might get an opportunity. So it's kind of exciting.
Those are her words, not mine.
I mean, maybe like a contender series.
I don't want to feel like, who's that guy that people were like, wasn't it Darren Till? He jumped line and they're like, oh, all these guys want to fight me. And he's like, he said, yeah, because you're like the guy who just cut line at Starbucks and everyone wants to beat the shit out of you. Like, I don't want to be that guy. But if it happens, I'm down. Whoever wants to fight, I'll fight anybody. I'm not scared.
Dude, you definitely you're too good of a guy. You don't want to be that guy at Starbucks cutting the line. You don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean?
I don't want to be, but I'll do it. Yeah. Especially if the order's wrong. Yeah.
But like almost the same question, Felicia, just the opposite. How cool is it to have, your significant other, your husband, badass fighter in his own self, professional, 1-0. Is it a goal or is it something cool to be like, yeah, that would be awesome. You guys on the same UFC card, 285, throw it out there in Orlando, Florida, whatever. Is that something that kind of motivates you? Is that something that you would want for you and your career and your relationship?
I don't think about it a lot like that, but if it works out that way, I mean, it would probably be pretty cool. I don't know. I'm kind of torn about fighting on the same night. It's really nice to be like in camp together. Like we fought 2 weeks apart a few times now, and that's always kind of cool. I don't know, fighting on the same night might be a little bit counterproductive. I don't know. But I'm just so happy that we get to live this life together and, to have someone that understands a little piece of what's going through, your mind and everything. I mean, a lot of what's going through my mind.
Yeah, she brings up a good point on that too, being counterproductive. I didn't even think about that as a question, because when she's cutting weight, I'm being nice, but if I'm cutting weight, she has to be nice. So then if we're both cutting weight,
it's the same weight.
Oh yeah, it's like that. Neither of us want that, It's like
right.
We love everything.
I wrote that down as one of my questions about like, that's everything I hear. That's the worst week. That's the worst 3 days or 36 hours, and you need that support to help you. If you guys were doing it together, if you guys were both super grumpy, Fluffy would be super upset over there. How both of you guys are grumpy. So I would assume that you guys would want to be separate in that sense of separate dates and separate times. So you guys have each other's back in that support time, I would think.
Yeah. Like 2 weeks apart is pretty perfect, really.
Right.
But I wouldn't throw the option of fighting on the same UFC card out though.
Oh yeah, it would still be pretty.
If the opportunity presents itself,
especially in Orlando, we would make that work. We have enough people. I mean, I've never fought in Orlando, so it'd be pretty epic.
I would make it work in Brazil. I don't know what she's talking about. I'll make it work. UFC, you let me know.
Auckland, Lincoln, Nebraska, Orlando, Amway, right down the road. You guys, that'd be awesome. And the question kind of more for you, Todd. Someone asked me this to ask you. I was like, I never thought of this way because I don't get it at all. Some guys do, right? Dating a fighter, dating a female fighter. Now you guys are married, dating, a female fighter. A lot of guys are like, let's just throw out the word scared. They're intimidated by, how badass she is. And just as a, Felicia, alone, but does it ever, when you guys got together or when you guys first started dating or thinking about it, was it like, wow, like I'm going to go for this fighter, a legit top badass herself?
Yeah. When it happened, I'm a legit badass too. Like I'm more, like I
definitely
said,
caught my attention.
she really cools me down a lot. But I was never, not really like it was an attraction in a way. Like, oh, she's athletic, like,
right.
I don't like pushover, do nothing women. It's like I need someone with the backbone. So that was really nice. But when it comes to being scared or anything like that, no, it's like I know I'll beat her ass for the most part. But now, it's like I do have to worry. It's like, all right, Todd, you drink a 6-pack, you better watch it. It's like now we're really creeping the boundaries,
Just to be clear, he's never crossed the boundary of beating me.
No. But it's in the back of my head,
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me drive this right. Let me get back in the lane. Let me drive this back in the lane for us.
It's extra fun when someone has a black eye though, and like at the store.
Oh, yeah, right. Or food, or usually it goes real bad when I like trying to order food. She has a black eye. Next thing you know, I'm just giving away a pizza because I'm scared of it. It's just it's horrible.
You guys are at Publix across the street from the jungle, and they're looking at you guys kind of weird, and you're kind of holding Felicia's hand, and she has a black eye, and like people are double taking. It's like, hey, she's a badass trainer. She got it over there, not with me. Come on, she got it trained. Megan Cauley did it.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Usually it is.
Right. And if someone's staring, I'll play into it. I'll put her in a headlock and be like, "What'd you say?" She'll put me in a headlock, or like she grabs my hand, but I throw it behind my back and I start screaming, help me!
Oh, he does that all the time.
She touches my belly and I love it. I think it's hilarious. But Fluffy, quit it.
Cardboard.
I know how inclusive MMA can get, singly and with relationships. Is it you guys try to find different activities, if it's just walking the dog or going to the movies or going out with a double date with another thing, just to kind of get your mind off of MMA? Or are you guys just in that moment right now? You guys are all in 24/7, 365, watching maybe Amanda in her early days? Or do you guys try to do different activities to kind of make it full circle?
I'd say we do a pretty good job of living a life that doesn't always have MMA in it. I mean, we're in the gym so much. We watch fights. When the fights are on, it's like that's our friend. We get together with our friends and watch fights. We'll do a little bit, especially in fight camp, of like doing a little extra research and that kind of thing. But otherwise, we have a life outside of it. We are working on this house together, mostly him, but still. We do normal stuff, a lot of like Netflix and
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, right. And having Fluffy, our dog, setting up play dates and stuff now is like the best thing. So.
Very cool, very cool. Also another thing I hear too about fighters after the fight, after UFC Norfolk, even on a win, of course, on a loss. Don't want to really put that out there in the universe, but even on a win, I always hear that there's a after the fight depression, almost like you're so much in the limelight. There's the song, you walk out to your theme song, it's so loud, you do what you do, you love it, you got the win, ground and pound, you look like a savage out there. It was phenomenal win, it was great. I always hear like there's a little bit of a depression afterwards. Have you guys went through that, or is it great to have that partner with you that kind of maybe knows what that feeling is? Can you talk on that?
Have you felt that before?
Well, yeah, no, I think we got such a good bond. Like I don't get it. I guess someone could be depressed, but
I've never. That's
some people are
weak-minded. I guess I can see like if you're just kind of going about your day and just emotional eating maybe. But I've definitely never like come away feeling down or like anything unusual. I mean, you get to eat whatever you want the next week, so it's pretty cool.
Right.
I usually we normally just kind of get right back to work, like living our regular life and a few less hours in the gym, so it's kind of a nice time.
Right, yeah.
Vacation a little bit, right?
God, sorry.
This guy,
of course,
Fluffy.
When we're on Skype, then he makes the most noise.
And she had been telling me, she's like, I swear, when I get on camera and he knows I'm doing something, that's when he'll mess with me the most. I'm like, nah, no way. As first time on camera, he's being a little shithead.
Yeah.
Now when if you go on Joe Rogan's show, now only one at a time, or a phone call. You can't do a Skype with Fluffy, But I'm pro dog, so I'm all in with that. That's fine. She can bark as long as love it. Talking about dogs and everything, have you guys, don't want to get too personal. If you don't, that's fine. But do you guys have family goals of your own? Is it something in the future, near future, long future that you would like to?
You want to get it on?
In the future, yeah. I'd like to be done with my fighting career before that.
Before we make 10 babies.
10 kids.
10.
Yeah.
Shoot high because the numbers are going to be low.
Well,
in our future. I mean, we already, we already have Abby with us, you know, for not as much as we, you know,
Right.
it would be awesome, but yeah, definitely in the future. And
she wants to. She is so just. You just talk so pretty. Nothing. We've already talked about. We want to try and whenever she's pretty much done like fighting, we'll see what happens. But if it's a good time to step away, there'll be time she'll step away. We want to try and have 3 kids. Honestly, we'd like to have. We could have twins off the back or something like that.
Twin.
You know, and then a child,
Like, no,
and then a child like a year later, so they're siblings and they can kind of raise with each other, and then she can
I'm
take.
big on siblings.
And then she can take, me as well. We both come from sibling families, me a larger one than her. And it's just something good to have kids. So some single kids raised just turn out crazy. Not really. You're like, I'm a single child.
I'm not doing anything else. But
No, that's funny you say that. Yeah, I'm a middle child. I have a younger brother and older brother. But yeah, we had 2 boys and we wanted the girl so bad. So we tried to have a girl. Then we had twin girls. So now we have 4. So we're catching up to that 10 thing with you guys. But the twins thing I'm going through it. You guys, Felicia, you can tell me stuff about inside the cage and I will listen to you. The twin thing is tough. The twin thing is hard. One at a time. You can give it so much more time and love, and especially our 2.5-year-old. He's literally GSP. Like all he wants to do is jump on kids and fight and wrestle, and he's like working on the jab already. So it's with twin girls and my 2.5-year-old. It's tough. It's a jungle gym at our house right now.
I'm sure it'll pan out really well. You just wait. Sure, I know it's a lot.
It will. Todd, do you have anything on the horizon? Any kind of fight stuff you want to get into? Or like I said, is it with this fight news with Felicia, is it kind of, this is huge. This is UFC 250, Amanda Nunes. This is insane.
You know what? I'll use that excuse. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm not fighting right now. But no, there's nothing on the horizon. If an opportunity presents itself, I'm more than likely to get on it if it's worth it. But no, I didn't plan on after my last fight. I'm trying to get some things done. Just busy working, but I can't make that an excuse. I need to try and get it in the cage as soon as possible. But nothing in the horizon.
Okay, because how many fights would you like to get in this calendar year, this 2020 year?
I'd like to get in 3 or 4. So what is it right now? February. Yeah. So I'd like to fight, every 3 months or 4 months at least.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
So yeah.
All right, so let's kind of talk about Amanda Nunes, UFC 250 featherweight strap on the line. Man, it's just so exciting. I can take it in so many different ways, but first and foremost, Amanda, we kind of saw the same Instagram thing today. It was so funny, that look, and she kind of knew. What's your first kind of, I guess, take on Amanda Nunes? A lot of people think she's the greatest female fighter so far, of our lives and all that. I know it's early. So what's your take on Amanda Nunes?
She's awesome, but I believe so much that every fighter is beatable. And
right.
Anyone can beat anyone on a given at that level. I feel like pretty much everyone in the UFC has the skill set to beat everyone else in the UFC. It's just a matter of on that night, what decisions are you making as opposed to what decisions they make. So right. I am just so excited to have another opportunity to fight a legend, and I just feel like I'm gonna really show up that night, and I'm gonna shock the world. Yeah, I know I said it last time, and in some ways I guess I still did, but not in the way that I wanted to. I just see so many really exciting things happening.
Yeah, no, us too, me too. This more than anything with, Coach Mike Lee and Seth there, how like styles make fights. And everyone I've been talking to since your last win, and I think everyone knew going into Norfolk, if you won, and especially kind of won impressively, like this was just at kind of the next step. So I was like talking to people about it already. And then I kept on like people I don't think was giving me the vindication on your name as much as afterwards. And then I swear after your win, 15 people in the media like text or DM me are like, oh, wow, I see what you're finally saying. I'm like, yes, guys, I've been saying Felicia Spencer now for 3 years. And like, I just think your style to Amanda Nunes' style is, if we went into a laboratory and like, hey, this is the fighter we need to, upset Amanda, Felicia Spencer's it. Like I think your style is a great compliment to Amanda. Do you think so as well, or have you kind of looked into that or thought that way yet, or?
Yeah, I do think I match up really well, and like you said, styles make fights, and no, even if Amanda rematched everyone that she ever fought, none of those fights would look the same. Same with me. Right. So I feel like you're right. I feel like I have a skill set that's a little bit different than what most fighters that she's had, have had. So it just comes down to pulling off in that day, in that moment. So yeah. Well, thank you for the support. I really appreciate that. I've been actually kind of feeling the support from the community, the MMA community a lot too. Good. A lot more than when I was up against Cyborg. The comments when I'm not supposed to read comments, but I do sometimes, and it was just like a lot more of it is like, oh no, there's something more interesting than.
We're people. Well, we're ordinary people. Like even the stuff I do, like it's so funny. I'm like, man, I shouldn't read it. Sometimes my wife reads it, like, what? That person doesn't like you, Dave? Like everyone likes you. Why wouldn't that person like you? Because something I said, or if I said a comment, like I thought Yoel was gonna win. Like I really honestly thought Yoel had a good shot against Izzy. And of course, after he didn't win, like 18 comments, like Dave, it's like. They attacked me because I had one wrong pick in my professional career. Yeah. I have to ask you, just happened. A lot of people thought your fight against Cyborg was one of the greatest female fights ever. But just a couple nights ago, that Ioana and Wei Li, to me, easily hands down is the greatest female fight ever. Maybe one of the greatest fights ever. Forget the male or female part of it. Well, yeah. What did you think of that fight?
It was amazing to watch. I mean, right. I would have hated to be a judge. I mean, it was exciting in every way that you'd want a fight to be exciting. So I thought, the whole MMA community won on that one.
The whole female MMA community.
No, the whole. I mean, I made a tweet that women's MMA won that fight, and some, there's still a lot of people. I mean, the same night there was a UFC fighter that made a comment that women shouldn't be fighting. Like that kind of stuff. Like there's still people out there that feel that way, but no one that feels that way is changing anyone else's mind. If you feel that way, you feel that way. If you don't, you don't. Like.
Can we bring up who said that?
I don't know.
You don't know? Neither do I. I didn't even know about it.
He deleted it. Either way.
Oh, he deleted it.
Yeah. It is what it is. I don't really care. But
right.
That was an amazing fight. So what are you doing? He's just tearing it up.
No, I'm just testing you guys for Joe Rogan. I'm getting you guys ready for the show.
Yeah, right.
But like two last things. For one, it looks like you guys are doing it very well together. Relationship. If you had a little bit of advice or something that you would tell future your MMA fighters that got into a relationship, what would you tell them? What one thing that you've learned together that you were like, hey guys, you should do this, or maybe try this because we're okay. Take it away, Todd.
Number one for everybody.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna fight. You're gonna physically fight. Make sure you fight naked.
Okay.
That's rule number one. We've never fought before.
I wrote that down. I'm gonna tell my wife about that one. All right.
On a serious note, we're real good at not keeping score. We said it before. Not tit for tat. She does something at me. I'm not gonna do something to upset her back. Kind of go back and forth.
Right.
And no low blows either. Like so many people when they talk to each other, they demean each other so much. It's like how can you even look at them the next day?
Yeah. You throw some water under that bridge. It's like, oh, it's water under the bridge. I'm like, no, I'm a fish swimming in that water. How dare you put any water?
Like I always
have like a mentally stable person to work with, like mostly, right.
That's close enough. Yeah, I always say like, there's like money in a jar, and sooner or later, like, if you say things or do some things, like money gets taken out of that jar, and you can try to put the cap back on, but sooner there's less money in that jar. There's less, if you go with a low blow or say something that's untake-backable, it's tough to kind of put that money back in. But no, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's when I'll go tit for tat. You say something stupid, coming right back at you. Right? So let's not start.
Oh my goodness. And then probably one of the last one, like I think like, Brad Pitt and Angelina, they had like Brangelina, like every kind of, they have a name. Like what would be your relationship name? I kind of had one, but did you guys have one? Or do you have one?
I got one in my head. Oh, and by the way, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie.
It's like his fantasy couple. What's that? Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not her name. I got a P-Flop and T-Flop.
Those are our drunk names.
Those are our drunk people names. We've been drinking. P-Flop, T-Flop.
We got Fluffy Flop.
And now we got Fluffy Flop. Yeah.
Fluffy Flop. He's drinking too.
He literally knocked over. I have a beer sitting over here. He knocked it over, and he's been trying to drink it. I cleaned it up, and then I just.
Yeah, we're not intentionally doing it.
Yeah, I'm not by any means. We don't want our dog to die.
Oh my goodness, we talked about fighting and then animals with alcohol. It's like this podcast is gonna have so many people like get on.
You said that about Joe. I was like, if I was on Joe Rogan, my dog would probably be high from all the smoke in the room. And I was like, yeah, right. And he wouldn't be acting up then. Yeah.
That is true. We keep it PG-13 in our studio. It's all the kids are around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Well, appreciate you guys like always coming on. Felicia, thank you so much. Congratulations, UFC 250, Amanda Nunes. Such a big, epic fight. Hopefully camp goes well. Stay healthy, kick some ass. Todd, hopefully we'll see you in the cage soon. Can't wait. I know you had a first-round finish at Combat Night, Tallahassee. Hopefully we'll see you in the Florida area soon. And, yeah, guys, wish you guys nothing but great good luck and success. Keep continuing.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
For having us.
Yep.
Anytime. Thank you, guys.
All right, bye.